talking about Dirty Harry, the first one with Clint
Inspector
Eastwood.
Harry Callahan.
Yeah. I'm Tom Scioli, author of Jack Kirby, The Epic Life of the King of Comics. I Am Stan, a graphic biography of the legendary Stan Lee. And coming soon from Image Comics, Jack Kirby's Star Warriors, starring Adam Starr and the Solar Legion. All three of which are available for pre-order in the show notes below.
I'm Matt Zeoli.
And you can follow me on Twitter at Tom Scioli, on Instagram at Tom_Scioli, and support my Patreon. Go to patreon.com and search Tom Scioli.
Follow the show on Instagram at total_recall_show.
As a kid, the Dirty Harry movies were always on TV.
Yes.
And I didn't know one from the other. It's like I'd seen like bits and pieces of all of them here and there, but like, it's like Magnum Force and all this. Like I couldn't tell one from the other. And so I realized like I never really sat down and watched Dirty Harry, the first movie. Like
I would see him on TV a lot.
Yeah.
And like you said, they would all get blended. The Dirty Harry series was the Deadpool. And I was like, wow, that's an adult thing. Very scary. It sounded super scary.
Which one was the one where like a guy like falls onto like a unicorn? He gets impaled on a unicorn?
It's the one shit.
Because that was like into the 80s. That was like 83 or something. Like I remember that scene.
I get those two mixed up because the follow-up to this one is the John Milius, Michael Cimino Magnum Force.
Magnum Force, yeah. As a kid, I got confused about which one came first because, like, Magnum Force, I thought, oh, Magnum Force came first, and then there's a character in it called Dirty Harry, and then they decided for the sequel to call the sequel Dirty Harry. You know what I mean? Like, I had it backwards.
They call him that because he doesn't, like, wipe properly.
Right, yeah.
He's sticking out the office.
Now, you can see how this movie was a hit. Now, it starts out with that kind of thing of like a sniper and seeing things. Like that was kind of like a 60s and 70s kind of like trope. And yeah, it's kind of cool how you don't see the guy who's doing it. You know, you just see the scope. Yeah, with the foreshortening.
I always love that, and like same with like binocular views, where it just has like the outline of the binoculars.
Yeah, the Steve Austin $6 Million Man eye scope. He looks like Jack Lord in Hawaii Five-0 or something.
Helmet hair alert.
Yeah, wasn't there somebody else who was was he the first choice? I feel like there was like somebody else who was like famously.
Well, there was, I believe, before Eastwood. It was, the main guy was Frank Sinatra.
Frank Sinatra. Okay, so was this like part of that series of books that like Frank Sinatra owned the rights to, that like Die Hard was one of them? Or was it just like he had done that movie and so it's like, oh, somebody else wants a similar kind of story with him in it?
This one was the reason John Milius was on the second one was because they like, when Frank Sinatra was attached, they were like, they gave John Milius like a month to try to write the screenplay for this. And and there's also a draft. I gotta locate it. Fucking Terrence Malick did a draft of this. And I think Eastwood said he should have been credited on the screenplay for fucking the lost Terrence Malick Dirty Harry script.
This is, I'd love to read that. This is one of those movies where everything got so incorporated into popular culture that it's like I know like the references more than like knowing them from the actual movie. Just sort of know, like all the do you feel lucky and all that kind of stuff. And like I loved the show Sledgehammer, and like watching this, it's like, oh, this is like a serious Sledgehammer.
It wasn't until a few years later when in The Naked Gun, remember when he's like, they're like, I don't want any of that business, that funny business that you did on like the East End or whatever, and he's like, when I see 5 weirdos in togas stabbing a guy in the park in full view of 100 people, I shoot the bastard. That's my policy. She's like, that was a Shakespeare in the Park production of Julius Caesar.
Matt, now that you're saying that, I didn't even catch that as like a Dirty Harry reference.
That was a Dirty Harry.
Because that is such a great line. And when I see a guy with a knife and a hard-on running, I don't ask questions. I think of like Jim Carrey doing the like, do you feel lucky thing, more than like Clint Eastwood. And then there's like the famous scene, which I'd always heard about, and assumed that I saw, of him like eating a hot dog and shooting guys. Now, up until just recently rewatching this, if I had to draw a picture of that scene, it would be Dirty Harry walking out of a restaurant, holding a full like hot dog in his hand and like taking a bite, and then go. But watching it now, it's like, oh wait. He does have the hot dog in his mouth. He eeats and he spreads. I love when they show.
So hungry for
I love when they show one of these old things and somebody spreading mustard on, because it's like, all I remember is a squeeze bottle of mustard where you squeeze. But I guess back then it's like you dip it with like a brush that was like built into the cap, and then you like slather it on.
You're not gonna believe it. I've been upset with my condiment application on hot dogs recently, so I've been trying to like spread them out. I'm doing the old time. He's like, Inspector Callahan, 1 foot long.
So he's got the hot dog in the diner, and he's eating it, and then when he walks out, he's not holding the hot dog in his hand anymore, but he's chewing it and shooting. But yeah, it's like in my mind, he's walking out there holding a hot dog, going,
Tom, in Magnum Force, there's a really good. They stop at a restaurant at the airport.
He's holding a double-decker ice cream cone and shit. Like every movie, it's like something different. He's got a Big Mac, and he's like, or he's got the John Travolta 2 slices of pizza folded and like.
Well, it makes me hungry too. When we covered Death Wish 3, Charles Brunson's eating a Jello pudding pop. Well, he's going. It's the food. When we watch Magnum,
they got Dean Wormer. Callahan, you're chewing them out.
Yeah, you're you're off camp. They're trying to kick him off campus here. Yeah, that hot dog looks great.
Callahan, you're 0.0.
He's like, he goes, he pledges at Animal House.
He's going undercover. That's the sequel they should have made, where he goes undercover at a fraternity.
His name's Hot Dog.
Yeah. Man, 1971.
Yeah.
And Tarantino, I don't know if you read the chapter, but he was talking about this movie in his book too.
I haven't. I'm like, my Kindle died, and I haven't recharged it in like 6 months.
So you got the Kindle version, not the book?
I got both. Yeah, Tarantino got me twice.
So this is like what Once Upon a Time in Hollywood is kind of like referencing. Is this like, is this Clint Eastwood is one of those, TV cowboys or whatever, or like a guy off of like old like what was he on? Rawhide, I guess. What was the show he's on? Is he like the Jake Cahill? Like, is he like, he was on a TV Western in black and white, and then his career's kind of petering out, and then he goes to Italy and makes a bunch of Westerns, and then he comes back and is in, this weird little movie, and then is like, becomes a big star. Is that kind of what's going on?
That's a similar trajectory.
Yeah.
We got to find some early drafts of this. Like, John Milius said when he did his draft of this, I don't know if he ended up being uncredited on this version, but he was influenced by a Kurosawa movie called, I want to say it might be called Stray Dogs.
And was that like a cop movie, a Kurosawa cop movie?
So. It's like a detective movie.
Yeah.
Which I haven't seen that, but that was what he mentioned when I was reading about him and like talking about this movie, and like, but he got full credit of the Magnum Force was Milius and the Deer Hunters Michael Cimino. Like,
this feels like Milius because it's like so right wing. Yeah, it's like this right wing fantasy.
And like
broiled burgers. But he's not going to order a broiled burger. He's going to get a hot dog.
The guy's eating like it's his employees must wash hands.
Yeah.
Or whatever. He wipes the sweat off his brow. And
but the famous hot, there's got to be like a Dirty Harry T-shirt where he's like holding the hot dog in his hand as he's. That's one of those long hot dogs too. That's like one of those.
That's that foot long.
Yeah.
He comes out of Costco. He's like.
Yeah, I want to see the part where he spreads the mustard on, because it's like a brush, isn't it? Or no, he's doing it with his knife. Okay.
Knife.
Yeah, I'm remembering like a thing like barbecue sauce or something.
Oh yeah,
you know, where you got the barbecue brush.
Covers every inch of that dog. Like crumbs are falling on the hot dog. He's like...
Now I wonder if it's like if he even has hot dog in his like if it's just acting. If like when Clint Eastwood's out there, who's just going like.
I always like the ticking clock on the takes because you get sick to your stomach. I was like, you wouldn't believe this. I had to eat 6 hot dogs filming this scene or whatever.
We got this is a time this is a time machine because we got a rotary phone. We got mustard without a squeeze bottle. You know
those scaffoldings don't look up to OSHA standards. Finish the dog.
And then do you feel lucky, punk?
In one of the later ones, so like before the Deadpool, there's the one where the finale's like at the amusement park.
Yeah, and there's like a merry-go-round with like a unicorn. Yeah,
and the other one is on like Alcatraz.
Yeah,
and I get those two like mixed up.
And it's not Escape from Alcatraz. Escape from Alcatraz doesn't have Harry Callahan going to jail from some kind of internal affairs thing and then busting it.
That'd be amazing though.
This is great cinematically of having like an overturned car, a fire hydrant spraying water everywhere, and he's just kind of casually. He's still chewing that hot dog. I mean, chew it good because they are a choking hazard.
They are definitely. There's a lot of choking accidents, but also like that was I don't know the quality. That might have been like a B grade hot dog, pretty tough to chew up, like leathery. Like
yeah, hot dogs were different back then. I know what you're thinking.
He's like, was it all beef?
And for that being this iconic speech, when he gives like the read is really good, and it's not like we know the like Jim Carrey version. You know what I mean? So like it's not. It doesn't have all the notes and all the punch exactly where it is in sort of comedian version that like the version that's become history. So it's kind of interesting to hear this kind of like more naturalistic, kind of like off the cuff version.
I think the same thing, like
as opposed to where it's become like a Shakespearean cadence.
Do you? Because the way he delivers it, he's like, "Well, do you, punk?" Yeah. It's like real like understated. He's like, ask you one question. What did I have on that hot dog? He's like, mustard and onions. He goes back into the diner.
But again, it's just one of those things that's like so big in the popular imagination. Scorpio in this, there was like there were 2 Liberace made for TV movies in the 80s.
Wow.
And I feel like he played Liberace in one of them, but I couldn't find any like reference to that online. So maybe I'm mistaking him for another actor.
I can't remember. Like I would see him pop up and stuff and be like, "Oh, it's Scorpio."
Yeah, because he's in Star Trek.
Yes, that's where I saw him. Yeah, and he's supposed to be like a Zodiac.
The Zodiac, Scorpio, Zodiac. Got his belt buckle and stuff.
So mad at the end whenever like. He
gets himself beat up on purpose or whatever. Yeah.
He's like,
I always thought that was a pretty cool gimmick.
That was, like he's like, I'm like, wow, I didn't know like that you could do that. That was the first
gave a lot of people ideas, I think.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's Lethal Weapon. Like all the clones of he's got his new partner. They don't like each other, you know.
Yeah. And
I gotta break in a new and then the thing of like talking down a guy who's like threatening to like jump off a building. It's in like RoboCop. It's in like Lethal Weapon. It's in like every
Last Action Hero.
Yeah, because again, I know all those other movies so much more than I know this.
Clint Eastwood's partners, Dirty Harry's partners, are always like cannon fodder. Like if you're his partner, chances are very high that you'll like end up dead. Yeah, Scorpio, the Zodiac Killer. We had old clothes from like my cousins, and they had like a balaclava that looked like Zodiac or Scorpion.
Yeah, when I was a kid, I would call those boogeyman masks, like that it's like what the boogeyman wears, but I don't know where I got that from. If there was like a character in a movie who was called the Boogeyman or something, or but yeah, it was Boogeyman man, and like
we called them ski masks.
We called them ski masks too, but like but before that, I would call it a Boogeyman mask. And I'd be like so terrified of it too. If there was like a character who shows up.
I didn't learn the word balaclava until I listened to Horchata by what the fuck's that band called?
Vampire Weekend. Yeah. So here he is at like a Pittsburgh steel mill or whatever.
Yeah, he's at the at the steelworks.
Yeah, but
there's Steely McBeam like hanging out. He shoots Steely McBeam.
I want you to beat me up.
Yeah, Steely McBeam.
I swear he played Liberace, but I don't know if maybe I'm just getting him like that. He's got like the same belt buckle or something that like Liberace wears in that TV movie.
Holy shit! I forgot how fucking big his. He like goes through airport security.
Yeah. It's so a right-wing fantasy too, because it's like, yeah, of course, like the villain's got a big peace sign on his belt. It's like when Batman: Dark Knight Returns, like the Joker is like, you know, he's taking Scorpio and like transposing it into the Joker. Like, this is the reference. Careful. This is the part I remember from like watching it on TV as a kid. Is where he like deliberately gets himself beat up and then he shows up. He's like, Callahan beat me up.
And his delivery and like his voice, he's like, great action scene at the end too with that school bus. Mm-hmm. I was thinking about like Clint Eastwood's filmography when getting in the mindset for this, and like I haven't seen a lot of his like you know, maybe like everything post Trouble with the Curve with like Justin Timberlake.
Yeah, you know what, the last one I saw, I've never seen $1 Million Baby. Like,
I've never seen that.
Never got around to it.
But I know the entire plot.
Right, exactly.
It made me like not
it's another one. It's another one of those ones
sad.
That's like part of like popular culture. But like the last Clint Eastwood movie that I saw was also a Clint Eastwood movie I saw in the theater, and it was Space Cowboys.
You know what? I heard good things about that.
See, I saw that and I was like, I hate this movie. Like, I saw it in the theater. It was one of those like theatrical experiences where I was like, this movie cannot end fast enough. Like, maybe I'll go to the snack bar and see what's doing, because I just got to kill time, because I am not enjoying this. And like, I never went to see another Clint Eastwood movie after Space. I'm just not in his demographic.
That was in the 90s, I believe. It had like James Garner.
Maybe like late 90s. Might have been like 99.
99.
Yeah.
Was it like James Brolin or something?
Yeah, James Garner was in it. It was one of those things like Wild Hogs or something where it's like, the old guys can still have fun. You know, it's like one of those kind of movies.
It's like they go on like a fucking spree or whatever. Like, oh my god.
But I feel like Frank Miller saw this movie and Death Wish and was like, okay, I think I know how to make superhero comics now. I'm surprised Scorpio's not wearing one of those neck braces, because that's so like the iconography of a guy who's like,
what a
faking.
Fucking heel. You want to get some heat? When I come down the wrestling ramp with a fucking squishy neck brace, the crowd starts booing. Got some peanuts hanging there in the old
great
70s
looking liquor store. Well, and even like in the 70s, this is supposed to be like a retro liquor store. This is supposed to be like a 1940s liquor store that's still hanging on into 1971. Like, that's really nice.
I love it. The guy's got the bow tie. Mm-hmm. I see some chiclets maybe over there. Yeah, look at that old register.
Yeah.
I see somebody with that like bandage on their nose. I'm like, all right, let's... You're really laying it on thick.
That guy has the gun that he like took off of, you know, some like SS officer he killed during World War II and brought home with him.
Oh my yes. Holy shit. In the 70s or 80s, like the jump, like there's always somebody hanging around that's like, you could clearly see they're from like 2 generations.
Right, yeah.
Like in Karate Kid, the guy that's announcing the All Valley tournament is fucking dressed like he's from like 71. Mm-hmm. It's like 83 film, but he's got like the fucking huge like
like he would be like Howard Cosell's co-anchor, you know, when like Joe Namath is playing football, you know.
Yeah, the guy announced, when you watch Karate Kid, the guy, his shirt is open all the way down to his navel. He's got like this blue like fake Western jacket, huge lapels.
You know, this school bus scene, I wonder if they're thinking of this when they make Superman, when like Superman rescues the school bus. But then also it's like, this movie was so influential that like even Speed is like playing off of stuff that's like set up here.
Well, because the Scorpio's like not ripping off, but like influenced by the Zodiac Killer. Mm-hmm. In one of the Zodiac Killer's like letters, he mentioned picking off kids on a school bus.
Okay.
and I think this is ripped from the headlines kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So like, instead of like he mentioned sniping.
Yeah.
So like, this the character.
Yeah, really great tense scene too, because like the kids don't know what's going on, but then the school bus driver is like crying and distraught and stuff in the foreground.
And great use of the hills of San Francisco. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Dirty Harry. They're like, for crying out loud, put on some deodorant, will you, Callie?
Again, one of those movies that like I thought I saw, I thought I knew backwards and forwards, and then watching it now and being like, I don't think I ever saw this movie. Like,
I remember seeing it
again, like just like bits and pieces, like walking through the house, and then like somebody's watching it on the TV as I'm walking, and I see like, okay, there's where he gets the guy to beat him up, and then go do something else, and
Yeah, we'll have to watch the Deadpool.
Yeah, we'll do all the Dirty Harrys, but yeah, I mean we can jump around though, but we'll eventually fill in all of them.
The Deadpool has Jim Carrey in it.
Oh, really?
As a rock star, I think his name's like Johnny Shits.
Well, yeah, I mean, Jim Carrey was kicking around for a while before in Living Color. Yeah.
So yeah, I can't wait. That one's like the most like ridiculous. It's
Love
got
it.
like
okay, that's the Total Recall.
The Deadpool.
Yeah.
There's remote control cars with C4 in them.
See, I think we're kind of blowing it a little. That like the first Karate Kid that we reviewed was Karate Kid 1 when it should have been Karate Kid 3. And then we're reviewing Dirty Harry when we really should have reviewed
started with the Deadpool.
Yeah,
and I'm glad we did our first James Bond with Octopus.
It was Octopussy. That was good. Yeah, that was on brand. I love that gold phone he's talking into
with Dean Wormer.
Yeah. See, Dean Wormer needed a gold phone.
Yeah.
More than the mayor in Dirty Harry.
Like the director of Karate Kid directed the final performance of John Belushi. Neighbors, there's a movie I haven't seen.
Yeah, I've never seen that one either.
You killed 5 actors. Good ones. I like when she adds good ones. It's like, you didn't just kill the regular actor.
I gotta rewatch Naked Gun just because I'm sure there's more Dirty Harry stuff in it.
Isn't that such a fucking hilarious?
Great. So yeah,
in this one, it's a reversal thing too, where Dirty Harry's pissing in front of a microphone. In this one,
yeah.
he's just like holding on to the wall. Chico leaves like a lav mic like on him. But in Naked Gun, he's pissing, and this one he's shitting. He's like, that hot dog's going through me.
Yeah, a lot of sodium in that hot dog. And Dirty Harry's hair, his hair like perpetually looks like he's like hanging out of the side of the car and shooting like while it's in motion. That's like what happens to like a normal head of hair, but his is just fixed in that, probably from doing that too much, like hanging out on the side of a car shooting.
Looks like Martin Short's character as Jack Frost in the Santa Claus 3. Yeah. He's got like these icicles going straight back.
There was like an arcade game, I think it was called like APB or something, where it was like you're driving a police car and doing a police chase, and then you also have like this little gun that you pull the trigger on, and like one of the guys is driving the car, and then the other guy's like hanging out of the side shooting the gun.
He's like, my inspiration for this performance was my dog. Mm-hmm. He like stick his head out the window when I'm driving. Since when he's a director, he's famous for keeping and using the first takes.
Okay, right.
Like his thing.
He's a director who it's like, I'm gonna bring it in under budget.
Yeah, you know? Like Matt Damon.
That's why he gets to keep making movies.
Cheap. They're real cheap. He's like, but it's so funny that like he's trying to do something artistic, but he's like, he's like
one take
Charlie. He's like, don't waste my fucking time. Yeah, Matt Damon was like asked for a second take in one of the movies, and he's like, why? What do you want to waste everyone's time? It's like, let's have a couple takes. It's okay to like.
I'll bet you're wondering, was there any film in the camera? You know what? To be honest, I kind of lost track myself.
And he's like, he's got ketchup all over the film stock and stuff. He's eating a hot dog.
Yeah, like after this movie was like a big hit, like Did Clint Eastwood have to go to like hot dog eating contests? Like he was like the brand ambassador for Ballpark Franks.
Right after this one, he went toe to toe with Kobayashi and Joey Chestnut at the Nathan's hot dog eating championship. Eastwood invented the move where you dip the bun in water. Like, Chico, I've been expanding my stomach. I've been eating. I've been upping my hot dog eating game.
It's like the 70s, so it's like we're doing the anti-hero. Like none of these guys should be celebrated. Popeye Doyle shouldn't be celebrated. Harry Callahan shouldn't be celebrated.
Charles Bronson.
Yeah, Charles Bronson. But then it's like when you make a movie, the guy who's at the center of it is the hero, no matter what, no matter. And then as the series go on, all of these series, they become more and more sort of superheroes.
Cartoonish.
Yeah, and they become more sort of like deputized, like sort of good guy through and through, but they still have that like baggage from like the first one where, they're not a hero. Oh no, not a Volkswagen Bug in the way.
This is the iconic like leap right there. Yeah. They keep showing
and it's really him, like it's not a stunt man doing it. It's Clint Eastwood. And some of this stuff looks like B-roll from the Fall Guy.
Fall Guy, yeah, he's like
because he would, Eastwood looked so fine.
Yeah, like
that's Colt Seavers doing some of these moves on top of that.
I think in one of the scenes you do see Colt like up there.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, there goes the bug.
Beep, beep.
It's Herbie.
Cool road to pick for a chase too, because there's no guardrails or anything. Like it just kind of rolls right off.
And then you got the luggage rack on the top, which gives them good stuff to grab.
Something to grab onto, yeah, like the car in Death.
Oh my god. Yeah, he also doesn't care about any of the children.
Yeah. Well, that is the thing. Like he's an anti-hero. Like we can't, because of the history of cinema and just the way all these conventions work, the viewer can't help but view him as the hero, as like the Roy Rogers cowboy or whatever, no matter how much the text of the film says that no, this isn't a guy to be admired or whatever. And John Milius is into him,
he's fucking like I mean he wrote like original drafts, so it's like that fucking
John Milius doesn't view any of this stuff as a negative. Yeah, and then this like last shootout in like
great location.
Yeah, you can't help but think of RoboCop and stuff. Like
I always love it. Like it creeps me out too. Like I don't know what my deal is, but like when built, like I guess back, when buildings are more than like 3 stories high, made of wood. Yeah, it's always like really wild. Like.
So this makes me feel like I'm at Kennywood.
Confusion. They're in Confusion Hill, like having a shootout.
Now, like I know when RoboCop came out, everybody was saying like, oh, it's like a Dirty Harry movie. It's like Dirty Harry as a cyborg or whatever. This and that. And I know Verhoeven like was very against the Dirty Harry comparisons, but it's like. Anxiety of influence, like obviously, like he was saying that it's got nothing to do with Dirty Harry because it's cut from the same cloth as it. Yeah.
The other iconic, they're like, we have this great location. They're like, Eastwood, you're gonna have to like ride on this dangerous conveyor belt.
Scorpio with that hair, he does kind of look like one of Colt Seavers' character, like with like the big hair to kind of cover up his actual.
In the other verse from the Fall Guy, he's like makes Scorpio look so fun. Yeah.
Scorpio he's a Crispin Glover character. Like I'm surprised. I guess Crispin Glover did get to be this kind of character in Charlie's Angels.
Yes, you're right. I guess for the 70s, he's more of a Bruce Glover.
Clint Eastwood is a fright mask.
Then that kid comes back to the fishing hole and fishes Scorpio. He's like,
pulls him up.
He reels him up. He holds him. He's like, oh my God.
He's like,
the Matrix Scorpio. Then Roy Scheider and fucking, what's his name? Come over, they cut his belly open, pull a license plate out of him. Swam up. Scorpio swam up with the Gulf Stream.
If you think I'm gonna let you do some half-assed autopsy on Scorpio and have that boy come spilling out and on the dock.
They got Scorpio hanging there by his feet, and he's like, that's not a great white, that's a Scorpio. And the guy's like, oh, what? He's like, I got this out of a quarter machine anyway. it sticks in Scorpio. Because
he invents the throwing star. He throws it. Yeah.
Scorpio's like, I'm alive, and
Right, and he's got like a little mini gun that he's had on him, and it reaches up for that.
It goes in his head, and then that kid reels him in. He's like,
and yeah, this is it's a done in one. There's never another Dirty Harry movie because he just threw his badge away.
That's a wrap. And also, if you don't notice, he's walking into the factory. And he's
for a job.
His shift at the rock crushing factory. Yeah, like Scorpio's gonna pull a second gun. He throws the badge, and it sticks in his head, and he drops the gun.
I mean, we need to put that in like our Total Recall Dirty Harry
yes, absolutely.
takeoff. Is that? And we have to do it just to have that. Like everything else is like just an excuse.
Smelly Sammy is
throw his
our character.
Grungy O'Toole or something, you know.
Dude, I think this might be the episode where I piss my pants on camera. Wait, Grungy O'Toole shoots Scorpio. And then Scorpio's like, and he's like,
Grungy Barry O'Toole, you know. The Grungy Barry series, the Total Recall show production.
He's a he's like a inspector by day, a professional hot dog eater by night.
Yeah,
a food.
He's a ninja, but his weapons are his badge, his police badge star, his hot dog spreading knife, or his mustard spreading knife that he'll fight you with. He makes nunchucks out of 2-foot-long hot dogs with a chain, or with like just the gristle or whatever between them. So yeah, I'm Tom Scioli, author of Jack Kirby: The Epic Life of the King of Comics. I Am Stan, a graphic biography of the legendary Stan Lee, and coming soon from Image Comics, Jack Kirby's Star Warriors, starring Adam Starr and the Solar Legion. All three of those books are available for pre-order by following the pre-order links in the show notes below.
I'm Matt Zeoli.
And please follow me on Twitter at Tom Scioli, on Instagram at Tom_Scioli, and support my Patreon. Go to patreon.com and search Tom Scioli.
Follow the show on Instagram at Total_Recall_show.
And yeah, we'll see you next time for the Deadpool, I guess.
The Deadpool, yes.